60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of our radio affiliates here in Fairfield County. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. Executive producer Kelly Roberts that lines up the guests, gets a lot of questions and background information together. And certainly the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy, J.T. Burcham, and the group that put this program together each and every week. And I'm glad to have each and every one of you here today. Back by popular demand is Deputy Jeff Reed, who was with us last week. He is the school resource officer in Canal Winchester and had a lot of great information about what they do in Canal Winchester, about school resource officers. And we're going to talk a little bit to start today about some training that you've been involved in. It's coming up next month here in the village.
Yeah, it's going to be in Canal Winchester. It's the Active Shooter Response Training Instructor course, or ALICE training. ALICE is an acronym that stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. Basically, it's kind of what a lot of schools and businesses are implementing in reference to evacuation plans for active shooter situations, or just hostile. It doesn't have to be shooter; it could be a knife wielder or something of that nature as well. It's not just for law enforcement or just for schools. It's also for churches or big businesses or hospitals or anything of that nature. And it's July 10th and 11th, and it's in Canal Winchester. Okay. Yes, sir. 2 days, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Canal Winchester has graciously given us their auditorium at their education center to use. We have like 450 seats available.
Wow.
So we want to make this a very, very big ALICE training. We want everybody in our area to have this training and to be able, this is a train the trainer course, if you will. We want everybody to be able to come in, get that training, and go back and train all their people on it so that everybody's on the same page. Because if we have a situation at a hospital where we need to respond, if we know that everybody there is ALICE certified, we know exactly what they're going to be doing, which is going to help our response as law enforcement to help them.
Yeah, so it's just not for law enforcement, right? It's for or not just for schools. So if you have your hospital, yep, church, even businesses,
yes, sir.
I would guess. And as a side note, that auditorium's quite a place in and of itself, isn't it? I was there a few weeks ago, built like in the maybe turn of the century.
Yeah, really early.
Yeah,
I can't remember the date, but it was really early.
So if nothing else, it's worth going to the
Absolutely.
Training center there. So let's just kind of go over the basic elements of, and certainly at one time years ago, the way, if there would be some kind of a crisis in a school, some kind of a shooter, what we would do is we would kind of cordon off the outside of the school. We'd call the SWAT team in. They would do at some point going, but all that's changed after Columbine, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now what is the step-by-step procedures that we follow when we do have some kind of a school emergency?
Right now, as a law enforcement officer, what I would do as the school resource officer for that school is, a lot of the times with situations like that, law enforcement has been trained to back out and wait on backup and then assess and deal with the situation. We're no longer trained to do that. I'm just going to read this from the paper here because this is just great information. It says, most violent intruder situations last between 5 and 7 minutes. Typically, first responders take longer than that to enter a compromised building. Research has shown that civilians have stopped active shooter situations twice as many times as police intervention. Why? Because they were already there. Alice equips you with strategies to better prepare for life and death encounters. You cannot rely on law enforcement alone. Learning to save your own life is imperative. That hits home with me. Basically, as the school resource officer, if a situation arises in my building, I obviously will notify everybody of the situation and await backup, but I'm going to assess and deal with the situation immediately. And these statistics alone, the 5 to 7 minute window that you have, that is going to be when you save lives.
Right.
It's not going to be after the fact, obviously. Like you said, Columbine or the shooting in Colorado, the movie theater.
Right.
You know, any tragic situation like that, Sandy Hook, any of them, you know, basically, and you know, the step-by-step is basically you assess, you approach, you encounter, and you deal with the situation, whatever it is. You have to neutralize that situation to save lives.
And it's not always today where they go in and lock the door and stay in the classroom, is it?
No. Alice is actually, again, with the alert, the whole alert part of it is they want to notify everybody of what exactly is going on via text, email, PA system, whatever it is, whatever they need to do to let everybody know exactly what's going on. That's what they go for. Lockdown means just that. If they're in your area, you want to lock down. You know, you do go back to that old kind of getting in your classroom, locking the door, staying put, that kind of thing. Now, inform. You want to continuously inform everybody of what's going on. Okay, the intruders in the west wing of the school, they're by room 208, you know, whatever it is. They're whether it be PA system again, even if it's 911, that's another one. Even if you're giving it to the dispatcher over the phone, they want them to tell them, you know, okay, he's in our west wing on the second floor, room 300. So that's kind of where the inform comes from. Now the counterpart of it is they don't want everybody to become a statistic. They don't want everybody to just be a sitting duck, if you will. If they lock down a room, they encourage everybody to, and they don't want people to, you know, approach or deal with an armed intruder. However, they do realize that we don't live in a perfect world, and if you're stuck in a room with no exit other than one door and they make entry through that door, it's fight or flight.
Right.
So
yeah, you better try to immobilize them.
Exactly.
If they're shooting people.
So they train to everybody, you know, if you are hiding in a room, to pick up a weapon, to you know, make noises, things of that nature. If this person comes into your room, obviously not if they're outside your room and don't make entry, but they want you to be prepared for the worst, obviously. And if this person makes entry, at least you have something to attempt to defend yourself, and you don't become just that statistic. And then evacuate. The way that our Canal Winchester school is set up is we have 2 wings. So if we would have an armed intruder in one wing, we would be easily able to evacuate our whole other wing, and that's what they want. They want people out and away from the danger zone.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Rather than everybody just get in their classroom, get under the desk, and hope everything goes well. If you're in another part of you have information on the PA system, or it's text to you that the intruders in another part, even if this was a business.
Right.
If this was the mall and or some other area, and you've got, you know, a long distance between where the intruder is, you know, get out, run from that parking lot. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, stay out of that danger zone.
If someone's out there and they're interested in this class, everybody's invited, right?
Absolutely.
And how do they register?
You can register online. I'm going to read it off. There's a link here. It's actually HTTP, and then it's going to be bit.ly/Fairfield SO July 10.
Okay. And before we go off the air, we'll repeat that. So if you're listening or you're viewing today, if you want to grab a pencil, write that down. We'll make sure we get that information to you. And I know Lancaster High School had a mock Alice training, didn't they?
They did, and it was phenomenal.
Now, were you part of that?
I was not part of it, but I was there to observe it.
Okay, tell us a little bit about how that went and how that proceeded.
Deputy Dixon, School Resource Officer Dixon for Lancaster, he'd called and informed me that they were doing that mock trial, and we do not have Alice implemented into Canal Winchester yet.
Okay.
So that's where all this training came into play.
Okay.
So ultimately, what I did was he invited us, so I had spoke with Dr. Mike Bruning, who is our safety director at Canal Winchester Schools, and I said, hey, listen, these guys are doing a mock. I think it's going to be great for us to go kind of observe, see what they're doing, maybe set something up, and if it would apply to our school and things of that nature, which I think it would. And he said, okay, great. So he came up, and we all stood inside the building as the active shooter came in, which was another deputy for our office, Kelly Keys. Kelly came in with the red suit on and the red gun, and he had cameras attached to both. And he went through the halls, checked the doors, and they did the whole evacuation and everything. And I'll tell you what, the students there did a phenomenal job, as well as the staff. They were all great, and I can't praise Deputy Dixon enough for setting it all up. He did a great job as well.
So the active shooter actually had a camera attached to his head, and so when you played it back, you could see exactly how this thing went down.
What he saw, what he did. We even he had a camera on the weapon as well.
Okay.
So we had everything that the weapon saw, and we had everything that he saw visually with his head. So at the end of it, he caught about 3 students evacuating, and we made the determination that 3 out of that entire school is a pretty good number. Not that we want any,
right?
But 3 is better than.
And so you had a lot of students evacuate very quickly, didn't you, out of that area?
Yes.
And of course, the principal was able to give the information. I was there also. Gave the information as to where the shooter was and
over the PA, yes,
over
sir.
the PA system. Great.
They did phenomenal, didn't they?
They really did. It was very impressive. So is part of this. So this is really a train the trainer. So once an individual, so if it's part of like the hospital or a business or a church, you don't have to send all your people. You just send one, and then they will come back and train the staff.
Absolutely.
Okay, so great. And there's an expense attached to it, and the trainers will come in. They're professional trainers, and this actually will take 2 days, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So great. I appreciate your involvement, kind of heading that up and making sure. Then are they going to have a program? Or are they going to have a exercise at Canal once you go through the training?
Yeah, once we're able to get all of our people trained on it, yes, sir.
Okay.
So as soon as we can get everybody through and trained on it, then we'll attempt that exercise like Lancaster did.
Okay. Last week we talked about some of the things that you do as a school resource officer. I would think it would be kind of fun because you probably do a lot of walking, don't you?
I try.
Around the parking lot, through the cafeterias, down the hallways and things like that. So it's a job not only that you enjoy, but you get to kind of stay in shape.
Yeah, it's great. I like it. And, the kids never know when you're coming.
There you go. Any interesting things that happened? This is the first year we've had a school resource officer. Canal, anything that was kind of interesting, fun, different?
Nothing that's really been different. It's all been kind of the norm for schools. And, it was kind of a learning year, if you will.
Right. So you probably got acquainted with a lot of the staff and they're really great folks, aren't they?
Oh, phenomenal.
And it's a great group of kids. Sometimes we hear a lot out there that, all kids are using drugs, all kids are doing stuff, but the reality, it's only a small percentage. And I hear that time and time again with the different schools. Most of the time they say, 95% of these kids are terrific and we don't have any issues at all.
Oh, yeah, they're great. They are absolutely great. Sheriff, if you would, I'd like to give my email if anybody has any questions about the ALICE training. My email is jreed@sheriff.fairfield.oh.us. And I just want to encourage anybody to email me if they have any questions about the ALICE training. And then also inform them that all the information about this training will also be on our Twitter, our Facebook, and our homepage.
Great. Deputy Jeff Reed, Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, Canal Winchester School Resource Officer, has been with us the last couple of weeks. I'd like to have you back here in a year or two to kind of update us on everything.
Absolutely.
Well, the clock on the wall says we're about out of time. Until next week, same time, same place. God bless, and we'll see you right here.
Hello, I'm Officer Chris Caton, and I'm the Director for the Lancaster Police Department Safety Town program. Safety Town is a 2-week summer safety program designed for children getting ready to enter kindergarten this fall. They are taught to make wise decisions in potentially dangerous situations, as well as how to handle emergencies. They also learn pedestrian safety by negotiating a miniature village on tricycles. This year's Safety Town program dates are June 16th through the 27th. We have a morning and an afternoon session. The morning session begins at 9 a.m. and runs to noon, and the afternoon session runs from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. There is a $20 registration fee, and the registration forms and the informational packets can be found in your child's kindergarten packet at your local elementary school. Or you can locate the registration form on the Lancaster Police Department website under the forms section. There is a registration deadline of June 6th, so hurry up and get your registration form in to ensure that you get the session of your choosing. This year's Safety Town program is going to be located again at Medill Elementary School, 1151 James Road. And if you have any further questions regarding Safety Town, please feel free to contact me at 740-687-6680, and my direct extension is 518. We look forward to seeing your future kindergartner this year at Safety Town.